All right, we've already got a form made up. There's a text box ready for some orders of shoes. We're going to be shipping shoes to people. Every 100 shoes will be put into a crate, and then leftover shoes will be shipped in boxes. You see 3 buttons, a text box at the top. Underneath the words crates and boxes, there are also 2 labels that you may not see them right now, but they're there. We're right now putting in access keys. We put an ampersand between the E and the X for exit. We got a little bit of a dilemma here with calculate and clear. They both start with the letter C, so we're going to have to make up our minds which one can have an ampersand in front of the C, and another one will have to have an ampersand somewhere else. Another alternative would be to rename the text of one of these. I guess I should say rename may not be the most accurate thing. You don't really need to rename the button, but you might have to alter the text. We're going to put the ampersand in front of C for calculate, and I had a student suggest we put it in front of the L for clear. Maybe you want to change the word clear to reset, since it sort of resets the form, and then you wouldn't have to worry. That's fine as well. Just making sure you see that if you have 2 first letters that are the same, you're going to have to make a choice on which one's going to get the access key on that letter. Only one of them can have it. And again, a reminder that underneath the words crates and boxes, there are 2 more labels that you can't see right now because there's no text in them. That's where the answers are going to go. So for example, if someone wants 608 pairs of shoes, they will get 6 crates and 8 boxes, because we have determined that every 100 boxes will get you 1 crate. We're going to now get some coding going for the calculate button. We'll put some documentation at the top. And now it's time to do some thinking. When you first start programming and you know you need to use some variables, what can be very difficult is to figure out what should be a variable. What do I need to store? What should I call them? So you kind of think about what's happening in this program. A good tip is to look for where are there inputs that you're getting from the user. What's information the users are giving to us? We're getting it in that text box that are going to tell us how many pairs of shoes they want. Well, what are some outputs we're going to display for the users? Well, we're going to show them how many crates they get and how many boxes they get. So there are 3 potential variables there, dealing with how many pairs of shoes are ordered, how many crates the customers are going to get, and how many boxes the customers are going to get. So there's a potential for 3 variables right there. Look for variables to hold input that you're going to get from users and output you intend to display to them. Well, we got to think about this. Pairs of shoes, could this ever be a decimal, or will this always be an integer? Will somebody be able to get 0.7 of a pair of shoes? Probably not. What would you give them? The heel of the second shoe and a shoelace? So we're going to declare this variable as an integer. We'll start with int. We could go with int shoes, int num of shoes, int pairs. I will just go with a long name this time. It's not so bad in Visual Basic because it's always trying to complete variable names for us. We'll make it int pairs of shoes, a very descriptive name. And we will declare this as integer. Now we determined there were 2 more types of variables we were going to need to get. The number of crates each customer would receive. And also we're going to be giving the number of boxes they get. Those will also be integers. You're not going to get half a crate or 1/3 of a box. You're going to get a full crate full of 100 shoes, or boxes, each one with a pair of shoes. It's possible to declare variables of the same data type on the same line. If you give them good variable names, it's okay. We often will document variables off on the side to explain what they're going to do. But if you do a good job explaining in the name of a variable what the variable represents, it should be pretty clear to other programmers what you intend. I'll make it very, very clear here that this is the number of pairs of shoes that are needed by the customer, and that these are going to be what we're going to ship and how we're going to ship them. I probably should have somewhere in this program mentioned in the documentation that crates are determined by every 100 pairs of shoes. didn't remember to do it. A lot of what's going to happen here in our first programs is obtain data from users, do some math, and then provide some output for the users. So let's deal with that first step, getting data about the shoes from the users, the number of pairs of shoes that our customers want. Well, where are they putting that? They're putting it in a text box. Where do we need to store it? We need to store it in the variable int pairs of shoes. So somehow we've got to get that information out of the text box and into this variable. We need to assign it. So we'll say int pairs of shoes equals, well, that information's in the text box, so we'll have it equal txt shoes.text. That's where it is. But we've got a problem. The .text property has a string. Even though there's numbers in there, it's seen as a string. And int pairs of shoes is a numeric variable. It's a number. So we need to use CInt, convert to integer. We've learned about CSTR, converting to string before, but we can go this direction as well, convert a string into an integer. Now that's going to be okay. Whatever number the users typed into that text box will now be converted to an integer and stored in the variable int pairs of shoes. So that is how we can convert a string to an integer. Well, we're going to have to display the information, but I forgot a step in between, and that's actually doing some calculating. But hey, I'm going to leave that documentation below there because I know it's a step we're going to need anyway. Now let's determine how to calculate the crates and the boxes, which is a big focus of this program. A couple different ways of dividing maybe you haven't thought about in a while. We want the number of crates that customers received to be, well, every 100 shoes that are ordered, 100 pairs of shoes that are ordered, they get crates. So it seems like we need to divide by 100. But we're going to use a very special kind of division here. We don't want to have any decimal leftovers. Again, if someone wants 608 pairs of shoes, they should get 6 crates, because that's how many times 100 goes into 600. This backward slash indicates integer division. All you get is the integer part of the answer. Back in elementary school, if you had 11 divided by 4, you would get the answer 2, remainder 3. 2 is the integer division part. And in Visual Basic, that's when we get when we use the backslash. It's also possible to generate the leftovers, or the remainder. Again, in elementary school, when you did 11 divided by 4, you got 2, remainder 3. Well, we can get that remainder by using mod. That's short for modulus division. And that's what we need for int boxes, because the leftover pairs of shoes that are not enough to go into the crates will be shipped just in boxes. So int pairs of shoes mod 100 gives us the remainder when we divide by 100. Let's check out some examples of using integer division and modulus division. 20 integer division 6 is 3, because 6 goes into 20 3 times, with 2 left over. That's why 20 mod 6 is 2. If we decide to do 20 integer division 7, well, 7 goes into 20 2 times. And there is 6 left over. Let's try it with 20 integer division 3 and 20 mod 3. You might want to pause the video and see if you can come up with the answers yourself. Three goes into 20 6 times, with 2 left over. Well, what if a number goes in evenly? For instance, 20 integer division 5. Well, that's 4, and the remainder is 0. So 2 very special kinds of division. You learned about them a long time ago, and maybe haven't thought about them since then. All that elementary knowledge is back. Unfortunately, you don't get recess in high school. Hey, we want to display this information now. We want to display the number of crates in lblcrates.text. Oh, but int crates is a numeric variable. We need to convert it to a string. So we'll use CSTR to convert that to a string. Now, that will fit nicely into the text property of LBL crates. Same thing for LBL boxes. We'll take int boxes and convert that to a string. Let's check it out. Remember, every 100 pairs of shoes that is ordered will show up in a crate. The remaining shoes will go in boxes. That's the answer we would expect. Next, let's code the clear event. If we want to clear the data out, we can do txtshoes.clear. Text boxes have a .clear event. It's the quickest way to accomplish this task. For the labels, we're going to have to say LBL crates.text equals blank quotation marks is one way. Another way you can accomplish this is by saying that the text property of a label equals string.empty. Either way is fine. Of course, the blank quotation marks are much shorter to type. We also want to put the focus into the text box, because the next logical thing to happen is that our customers will put in another number of pairs of shoes that they want to order. Let's take a look. Now when we press clear, we're right back into that text box. The clear event looks good. Won't take long to code the exit button. This one ends the program, and it's again me.close. We'll quickly check this to make sure it works. It does. Let's make sure the tab order is good. We'll go ahead and click and make the text box the lowest number, which is 0, and then 1, 2, 3 for the buttons. The labels will not receive a focus. And if we press tab, you see it's logically going through from the first text box down to the buttons from left to right. That looks pretty good. Well, we started off with some special division cases. There is also regular division available. So let's take a look at an input box, or excuse me, a message box that will show us what regular division looks like. When we divide in Visual Basic, the answer we get is going to be a double. It's always going to have the potential to be a decimal. Even if you know the answer is going to be an integer, it's going to come back as a potential decimal. So we're going to declare a variable as a double, and we'll just use the regular division slash that you're used to seeing to divide int pairs of shoes by 100. And right now, just to show you how this works, we'll pop this into a message box. So the regular division answer is, I'll use a plus sign to concatenate the strings. Ooh, but DBL division answer is actually a numeric variable. Remember, we're going to have to convert this to a string. Message boxes need strings inside the parentheses. And be careful with your parentheses. There it is, 4.78. That's what you get with regular division. And then there's what we got from integer division and modulus division, giving us how many times a number goes into another and the leftovers. We also can take care of using the accept button and the cancel button. BT and calculate makes sense for the accept button for when users would press enter when maybe the focus is in the text box, and we'll do escape, we'll hit with BT and exit. So I'll press enter while I'm in the text box. There's everything that happened in BT and calculate. Press escape and the program exits. There's more we can do to improve this program. That will come later.